what scientists just discovered about sunbird UV pattern vision. Okay, hold on. Stop what you are doing right now. Because scientists just found out that flowers have been lying to us this entire time. Not to the sunbirds, just to us, to humans. Because we have been staring at flowers for thousands of years thinking we understood them, and it turns out we were completely wrong. Welcome back. And today we're talking about sunbirds, ultraviolet light, and one of the wildest scientific discoveries of the year. Let us start with the basics. Sunbirds are tiny, dazzling birds that live across Africa, Asia, and Australia. They are often compared to hummingbirds because they hover near flowers and drink nectar. They are fast. They are flashy. The males look like someone bedazzled a paperclip. Seriously, these little guys have feathers that shimmer in green and purple and red and gold. They are absolutely stunning. But here is the thing. As gorgeous as sunbirds look to us, we have been missing something enormous, something hidden in plain sight. And scientists just cracked it open. Sunbirds can see ultraviolet light. Now you might be thinking, okay, cool, lots of birds can do that. And you are right, many birds have UV vision. But what the new research discovered is not just that sunbirds can see UV, it is what they are doing with it. And that changes everything. Here is your first jaw-dropping fact. Flowers have secret ultraviolet patterns painted all over them that are completely invisible to human eyes. Scientists call them nectar guides. They are basically landing strips. Arrows pointing straight to the good stuff, and sunbirds can see every single one of them. Imagine you are at an airport and every runway is completely invisible to you. You would have no idea where to land. That is what it is like for us looking at flowers. We see a pretty yellow petal. The sunbird sees a glowing neon highway pointing directly to the nectar. The flower has been sending secret messages this whole time, and we just figured out how detailed those messages actually are. But the researchers did not stop there. And this is where it gets absolutely incredible. They discovered that the UV patterns on flowers are not random. They are not just a simple dot or arrow. These patterns are incredibly complex. Different flower species have completely different UV designs. Some look like spirals. Some look like starbursts. Some have UV rings around the centre. And sunbirds can read all of them like a map. Here is surprising fact number 2. The sunbird's eye has 4 types of colour receptors. Humans only have 3. That extra receptor is specifically tuned to ultraviolet wavelengths. This means sunbirds are not just seeing more colours than us. They are seeing an entirely different dimension of colour that does not even have names in human language. We literally cannot imagine what they are seeing. Our brains do not have the wiring for it. A sunbird looking at a flower is like someone watching a movie in full 4K HD while we are watching a blurry black and white photograph. And here is what the new study found that nobody expected. The UV patterns on flowers and the UV patterns on the sunbirds themselves are connected. They match up. The male sunbird has UV reflective patches on his feathers, particularly on his throat and chest. And those patches are not just there to look cool, they communicate with flowers. Well, not literally, but the bird and the flower evolved together over millions of years, speaking the same UV language. Researchers think this happened because sunbirds and flowers co-evolved. The flowers developed UV patterns to attract sunbirds. The sunbirds developed UV-sensitive vision to find those flowers. And then the sunbirds started using the same UV frequency in their own feather patterns to communicate with each other. It is like the flower accidentally invented a new language. And the bird said, "Hey, that is a great idea. Let me use that for dating too." That brings us to surprising fact number 3. Female sunbirds use UV pattern vision to pick their mates. When a male sunbird wants to impress a female, he flares out his chest feathers. To human eyes, he just looks shiny. But to the female sunbird, she is seeing a full UV light show. His feathers are blazing with ultraviolet patterns that tell her exactly how healthy he is, how old he is, and whether he has been eating well, she is reading his resume. In UV, just by looking at him, the new research showed that females spend significantly more time evaluating males with stronger UV patterns, and the males with the most vivid UV displays were more successful at finding mates. So in the sunbird world, being good looking is not just about what you look like in regular light, it is about your secret invisible glow. Now here is where the science gets even wilder. Researchers wanted to understand exactly how good sunbirds are at distinguishing UV patterns. So they ran experiments. They showed sunbirds different artificial flowers with different UV designs and rewarded them with real nectar when they picked the right one. And the sunbirds learnt the patterns incredibly fast. Faster than anyone predicted. They could tell the difference between two UV patterns that were only slightly different. Patterns that even the best scientific instruments struggled to distinguish. These tiny birds with brains the size of a pea were outperforming scientific equipment at reading ultraviolet light. Let that sink in. Here is surprising fact number 4. Some flowers actually change their UV patterns throughout the day. In the morning, when they are freshly full of nectar, they display one UV pattern. After a sunbird has already visited and drunk all the nectar, the flower changes its UV signal. It basically switches off its landing lights. The empty flower sends a different message. Do not bother stopping here. Nothing for you. And the sunbirds read those updated signals and fly right past. The flowers are running a real-time communication system in ultraviolet light, and until now, we had absolutely no idea. This discovery is massive because it means flowers are not just passive, pretty things sitting around waiting to be visited. They are actively managing their relationships with pollinators. They are running an information network, an invisible, ultraviolet, constantly updating information network that has been operating right above our heads in every garden and field and forest on Earth. And the sunbirds are plugged into that network every single day of their lives. Here is the 5th incredible thing the scientists found. Young sunbirds that are still learning, birds that just left the nest and are figuring out how to survive. They make more mistakes reading UV patterns. They visit empty flowers more often. They take longer to find the good ones. But within a few weeks, they get fast. They calibrate their UV vision through experience. They are literally learning to read in ultraviolet as babies. So what does all of this mean? It means the world looks completely different to a sunbird than it does to you. Every flower is a glowing billboard. Every other sunbird is wearing a UV outfit that broadcasts their health and status. Every garden is absolutely bursting with information, colours, patterns and signals that are totally invisible to us. It also means that scientists have barely scratched the surface of understanding how animals perceive the world. For centuries, we assumed animals saw things roughly the way we do. And over again, research keeps showing us that we were wrong. Every animal is living in its own perceptual universe, seeing, hearing, smelling and sensing things we cannot even begin to imagine. The sunbird is not just a pretty bird with shiny feathers. It is a UV-powered information processing machine that has been quietly mastering invisible light for millions of years. And honestly, that makes every garden feel like a secret world. Full of messages we cannot read, conversations we cannot hear, a whole layer of reality buzzing and glowing, just out of reach of human senses. Next time you see a flower and think it looks beautiful, just remember, you are only seeing half of it. A sunbird sees the rest. Now I want to hear from you. If scientists could give humans UV vision for just one day, what do you think would blow your mind the most? Would it be the flowers, the birds, or something completely different? Drop your answer in the comments right now. I read every single one.